Welcome to the Mindset Mile podcast, the show that'll leave you empowered to take action towards becoming the turned up version of your already awesome self. I'm your host, Aisha Zaza, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's go. Hey fam, happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindset Mile podcast. Today we're going to talk about follow through. Have you ever considered what your rate of follow through is? So just think about this for a second. So on a scale from 1 to 100, what percentage of the time would you say you follow through with things you say you're going to do? And this goes for anything from as small and menial as cleaning the inside of your car to bigger and maybe more important commitments you make to yourself, like running that half marathon finally, or building out that side hustle. And if you say that follow through is one of your strong suits, then awesome. I am slapping you a high five because that is amazing. And it's very rare to come by these days. You'll still be able to take a lot from this episode. But if you're someone that would rate yourself lower or like 50-50, then my guess is that if you do, you're probably kind of sick of your own BS and you want to change, but don't know exactly how or why you end up bailing on certain commitments or why you end up canceling last minute a lot of the time, whether that's on yourself or other people. Regardless of where you fall in this spectrum, know that nobody is perfect and is able to show up 100% of the time just because they said they would. Of course, you need to take into consideration the sometimes unpredictability of life, but I want to help you strengthen your follow-through muscle for a few reasons when it is in your control. For one, following through with commitments you make to yourself and others is an excellent way to build your confidence. Two, the quality of your life will improve a lot once you stop quitting so often. And three, time is our most valuable resource, and you and your loved ones deserve your follow through. You don't want to go through life half starting things all the time. Okay, so let's jump in. First thing is to break down whatever the goal is into really tiny pieces. The hardest thing to do is start. And a big part of why that is because usually the task or goal at hand feels daunting when you're starting from square one and looking all the way to the finish line. There's just too much space between where you're at right now and completion. So we want to chunk it down so that starting feels manageable. Is your kitchen a disaster, but you keep ignoring it because you just don't know where to start? Have a starting plan. Maybe that's washing 2 dishes out of the sink and putting them away. Maybe that's where you start every single time. Your starting point is 2 dishes. That's it. Maybe you want to stop staring at your Peloton and actually use it. Hop on, ride for 5 minutes of a class, and if you really feel like stopping after that 5 minutes, go ahead and stop. Are you putting off your inbox because you have 87 new emails to go through? Or 870 emails for some of us? Respond to one and delete one piece of junk. You want to start putting yourself out there to collaborate with brands? Send one DM or message from your list of dream brands to work with. Once you get the ball in motion, several things happen. You feel a sense of accomplishment and pride for being productive, which breeds more motivation to keep going. It also proves that you were probably working yourself up way more than you needed because it actually wasn't as bad as you thought, right? Like I can tell you how many times I'm like, why did I make such a big deal about this? Even when it comes to just doing something so simple like making a phone call. Okay, so give yourself that small assignment, that small task. And if you truly don't want to keep going, then you have permission to stop. But you got to chunk it down. Give yourself an opportunity to start because once you start, you are so much more likely to keep going. And Another great tool I've shared many times on the podcast to get started on something you find yourself putting off is the 5-second rule, where you count backwards from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, take action. So counting backwards breaks the thought loop that solidifies ongoing procrastination. Get started by doing something small as a part of the larger goal or task and see where that takes you. Okay, so I realize that getting started is half the battle most of the time, but then there's the other half of the battle, which leads me to my second point. In order to follow through with something, think on behalf of your future self. What does future you want? In the short term and in the long term. Maybe even right in this moment. Maybe your current self wants to stop this podcast and go do something else that's going to give you more instant gratification. But what does future you want? And I'm talking about the you in 10 minutes from now. Future you wants tools to get you in the habit of following through. That's probably what got you started on this episode in the first place, right? When it comes to my health, I really value being proactive instead of reactive, which is why I started incorporating Dose into my supplement routine. It's a delicious wellness shot that directly supports daily and long-term liver function. It's made with turmeric extract, which is actually 24 times more bioavailable than standard turmeric, like turmeric powder or pressed juice. So the 2-ounce shot is super potent and easily absorbed by the gut. I can also tell that it helps me focus in the mornings, which is when I get the majority of my work done throughout the day. If you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health, Dose is offering Mindset Mile listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. Go to dosedaily.co/Mindset Mile and use the code Mindset Mile. That's dosedaily.co/Mindset Mile and use code Mindset Mile. One of my favorite high-protein snacks is Greek yogurt, and to it, I'll add some berries and granola. But I'm super picky about my granola because most of them are made with tons of sugar and inflammatory oils, which is why I use Wildway granola. It's made from 100% real ingredients with no added sugars, preservatives, seed oils, or flavorings. Just wholesome blend of nuts, seeds, dried fruit, and spices. And they have such amazing flavors like coconut cashew, banana nut, apple cinnamon, dark chocolate sea salt, peach pecan, and vanilla bean espresso. They're all delicious. You've got to get your hands on some. Right now, save 20% off your first order with the code MindsetMile by visiting wildwayoflife.com. That's wildwayoflife.com using code MindsetMile to receive 20% off your first order. I know how overwhelming it can be to know where to start if you've been wanting to take a holistic and preventative approach to your health. After searching what feels like forever, I found Joy Women's Wellness, and I'm so excited to share it with you. If you've been wondering about your hormone or metabolic health, nutrient deficiencies, sexual health, longevity and anti-aging, or if you suffer from fatigue, brain fog, and low energy, you have to check out Joy. They'll review your blood work and help you understand what's going on underneath and provide solutions to address the root cause. And it's so simple. You get your labs done local to you and then have a follow-up virtual appointment with a board-certified clinician where they will then address and personalize a plan to make you look and feel your best. If you're looking to take ownership of your health and feel your best, Joy is giving Mindset Mile listeners 20% off. Go to choosejoy.co/Mindset Mile and browse their curated section of comprehensive labs. That's choosejoi.co/Mindset Mile and get 20% off any labs. Choose joy and feel like you again. On Monday, is future you going to be irritated at yourself for not meal prepping for the week again and scrambling to find a decent, healthy option for lunch when you're in a crunch? Probably, right? Like you can probably assume the position that you're going to be in when, again, Monday rolls around and you did not prepare the night before or over the weekend. But imagine future you on Monday feeling so organized and prepared for the week because you did one simple but huge thing to set your week up for success by preparing your lunches. Imagine future you feeling so good after you get in the workout. Imagine future you starting to feel healed because you learned to say no to people and things that didn't align with your values. Thinking from a place of your future self is a great driver because it gets your brain thinking about your success before it's even happened. And when you can start to envision that, it's a lot easier to align your actions. This is what we call delayed gratification. The path of least resistance is to do what you want in this very moment and how you want to feel in this very moment. Where when you can learn to delay gratification, it has a much more meaningful impact on you and one that feels way better than instant gratification, I promise you. My third tip is to limit distractions. And I'm not just talking about the obvious ones like turn your phone on do not disturb when you're in work mode or turning off social media notifications. If you are not hip to these by now, please do yourself a favor and just eliminate those distractions out of your life. But you're going to be presented with options as to how you get to spend your time. You're going to get asked to social events or a concert or to get together for dinner. And if you want to get to your big goal, then sometimes you're going to need to say no. You've got to set up boundaries around your big goals and how you should be spending your time during those seasons. Does this mean you're not going to have a life? No. You don't need to say no to everything, but depending on what you're working towards and how close you are to your goal, there will be short seasons of life that require you to keep the momentum going. So one thing I see that keeps people from ever reaching their goals is that they do too little action over too long of a time. Building momentum towards a big goal requires a lot of action in a short period of time. Okay, that is like the exact definition of momentum. Think about a plane taking off of the ground. Is the plane ever going to get off the ground if it's going at 60% speed? No. In order for a plane to take off of the runway and get into the sky, it has to be running at full speed for a short period of time, and then it can take off, and then it gets into the air, and then it goes into autopilot. So think about this. Are you going to reach your fitness goals by going to the gym once or twice a week over the course of 3 months? It'll be better for you than not doing anything, of course, but probably won't be moving the needle forward very much. Is your social marketing business going to grow if you're reaching out to 2 people a week for, let's say, 3 months? A little bit, but that's not enough activity to generate a lot of momentum, which is what you need to level up. And a killer of motivation is too little to no momentum. I want to ask you this. How inspired do you feel when you're running just once a week compared to how inspired and great you feel when you're running 5 times a week? That is the power of momentum. You have to eliminate social distractions that are taking you away from your big goal. It'll be just for a short period of time, and I promise you, you are not going to die of FOMO. When I get super focused in on a goal of mine, I remind myself that making wise decisions about how I spend my time and energy does not just mean I'm constantly saying no to things that I also would love to be doing, but it means that I'm saying yes to me. It means I'm saying yes to my goals and yes to my commitment. And that feels really, really good. So you're not just saying no to things that you want. You are saying yes to very important and meaningful things that you also want, okay? So it's that delayed gratification. I really hope these tips help you increase your follow-through rate, because once you start following through more often, you are going to be walking around just like owning your life. It feels so good to follow through with things that you say you're going to do for yourself and for other people. I really hope this episode helped you. If it did, please tag me on social media at Aisha Zaza. Send this episode to a friend who also needs some help following through with their commitments. And I cannot wait to see you next week, my friend. Until then, make it a great day.